Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots. Hooligan, shield, Dutch, servants, peasants, vassals. I'm a useful idiot. Today is a very historic day in America as Detroit declares bankruptcy, officially declares bankruptcy in Chapter 9 in Federal Bankruptcy Court. And this is the biggest U.S. city ever to file for bankruptcy. And that includes recent bankruptcies of Stockton in 2012 and San Bernardino in 2012 as well. And it was interesting actually to find out that since Congress enacted the revised Municipal Bankruptcy Act in 1937, there's actually been 640 Chapter 9 bankruptcies filed. So there's a long history of this. And of course, a lot of them were during the war. But now we enter this new chapter where Detroit, that used to be America's crown jewel of the industrial age, and ramping up for the war effort during the 40s and then the post-war boom in America. But by the 60s, things were already changing with the advent of Asian cars, and there started to be a tax revenue plummet and a property value plummet and an exodus out of Detroit during the 60s. So this is a slow, grinding process. And in fact, it's Detroit emergency manager Kevin Orr said that where we are right now is a culmination of years and years and years of kicking the can down the road. And so now we're seeing the actual direct results of kicking the can down the road years and years and years. And something that sounds familiar, I hope, to our federal government. And I know it sounds very familiar to a lot of municipalities all over the country. So what's going to happen next? They're going to be laying off municipal employees, selling off assets, raising fees, and scaling back services. So pretty unimaginable, considering that where the city is at right now, that they have that many employees to lay off. But that'll include more police and more firefighters, I'm sure. And they're selling off assets. And to give you an idea of what they get for in Detroit for assets, the Silver Stadium, where actual NFL football games used to be played, sold for $175,000 a few years ago. That's right, you heard me, $175,000. And so when they declare bankruptcy, to put it the best way, we can quote the attorney that's representing the city of Detroit, and he said, quote, "They don't have to pay anyone they don't want to, and no one can sue them," unquote. So I'm sure that's music to their ears in Detroit. And but to give you an idea of the suffering that Detroit has been going through for many years now, and certainly the last economic collapse killed off any chance of any recent recovery. So let's go through some hairy facts. Detroit was once the fourth largest city in the United States. Detroit used to have the highest per capita income in the United States in 1960. Since 1950, the population of Detroit has decreased by 63%. It's gone from 1.8 million people to 700,000 people. 40% of the streetlights in Detroit don't work. 210 of 317 public parks have been closed permanently. There are approximately 70,000 abandoned buildings in Detroit. Half of Detroit's 140 square miles is either vacant or derelict. Only 50% of the population over 16 has a job. 60% of the children in Detroit live in poverty. 47% of the population is functionally illiterate. Solve rate for crime is now only 10%. The police force right now is 2,500 strong, half of what it was 8 years ago. Police stations are closed to the public 16 hours a day, so that people only have access 8 hours of the day. The murder rate in Detroit is 11 times higher than New York City, and remember what the population of New York City is. And so these are some pretty hairy statistics about the fall of one of America's greatest cities. And GM is theoretically going to stay there and function and provide what little Detroit has left. And of course, they're trying to look on the optimistic side, but in reality, they're not that much better off than the city of Detroit itself. So let's look at some more numbers. How gruesome is Detroit's debt at this point? Well, they just defaulted on a $39.7 million debt payment, and they're suspending payments on $2.5 billion of unsecured debt. And Detroit Emergency Manager Kevin Orr submitted an approval that would pay unsecured creditors about 10 cents on the dollar. And those unsecured creditors are the pension funds, the unions, and the creditors. So he really had no choice, offering 10 cents on the dollar. And you certainly can't blame the creditors for not wanting to take it either. But that's a sad fact about this, that pensions and retiree benefits are going to be one of the first things to go. And even though pension and retiree benefits are supposed to be guaranteed under state law, federal bankruptcy laws trump state laws in a matter such as this. So the city faces $20 billion in debt and unfunded liabilities. $20 billion. $20 billion is the kind of money that could bail out European countries. And this is a city in the middle of the Midwest. That's approximately $25,000 per resident, and their budget deficit is $380 million. So this is truly, truly hopeless. The median price of a house in Detroit is, depending on the report you see, somewhere between $2,000 and $7,000. That's right. The median house price in Detroit is between $2,000 and $7,000. And so this is where we are in America today, and I think everybody needs to take a really close look at this situation, because we could see it again, although certainly not on the scale of Detroit. But there was a point in Detroit where I'm sure anyone would have been astounded if you told them the city would end up where it is now. So take a good look at this, and those of you out there who, like in Australia, who say, well, no, it can't happen here, take a good look at this. And just last month, of course, the Kevin Orr had said that the chances of bankruptcy were 50-50, so they put up a front right to the end. But one of the problems that we're going to find as we go further into bankruptcy in the city of Detroit is not only are there going to be lots of hidden losses, the full scope of where Detroit's finances are will come to light even more than they have already. And I'm sure it will be a frightening picture of how bureaucracy and government works. And then the other part of this is the ripple effect, the psychological effect of a city like Detroit going into bankruptcy, and then the ripple effect it'll have through the economy. Certainly a lot of businesses will be closing down and moving out of Detroit. Services will be cut. The people who are living on pensions and the like will not be able to stay there. And the place will continue to get more dangerous. So I don't think there is much hope, at least in the short run, for Detroit. We're going to see some more tragedy unfold there in 21st century style. So here's some austerity. Here's some globalization. Here is some urban blight. Here's the fall of a great American city. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.